Hello and welcome back for another saxophone tutorial from Nottingham Music Excellence. My name is Chris Allison and I'm going to play I'd Do Anything from the Oliver musical, and it's in the Grade 1 saxophone book. And in this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate the music and then talk about some of the details in the piece, tell you how to play it with style and flair, and then I'm going to upload the accompaniment for you to play along with yourself. So grab your Bluetooth speaker and see if you can play along with the accompaniment yourself. And I've uploaded 2 different speeds for you to play at, so choose the one that suits you the most. Here we go. Hope you enjoy the tutorial. Okay, so you've heard the music. Let's say a few words about some of the detail. Now, I think we have to say this is one of the harder ones of the book. I mean, I'm doing this with a couple of pupils at the moment, and they're finding it quite tricky, especially if you've downloaded the ABRSM sort of recording of this and tried to play along with it. You've probably got nowhere because it's just so fast. I can't imagine that any grade 1 pupils are going to play it at that speed. So I've slowed it down a little bit. If you try and play along with the version that I've recorded, you'll notice it's just moderated the tempo slightly. So the silly thing is as well, it says it's moderately. Now 144 in my book is not moderately. 144 is nothing like moderately. So anyway, make of that what you will. So I think for grade 1, you've got to find a speed, you've got to find a tempo that you can play it at, because this has got quite a lot of jumping around, you know, dum dum ba ba ba, dum dum ba ba ba, you know, so it jumps around from octave to octave, from lower octave to upper octave, and it's not an easy one, I don't think. So let's have a look at some of these notes. So now I've noticed straight away when I try to play this with the accompaniment, it just helped a little bit with those leaps going up and down, is if I just play those ba-ba-bum, so play the quavers quite short and don't necessarily play the maximum minim, you might say, the full length minim on that next note, so it just gives you a little bit more time to get back down again. So maybe so I think if you need to steal a bit of time from that minim to get to the next note, I think that's perfectly acceptable. I think you'll kind of do it naturally anyway, just to sort of get yourself, just to keep yourself in time. But I think if you play it with really full length notes, it actually is really hard to play and keep up with the accompaniment. So bear that in mind. And then you've got the G sharp to the A. So another jump there. So again on that A, notice I've got just a minute sort of little gap there from the A to up to the F. I'm just sort of stealing a tiny bit of time so that I get to that F a bit more cleanly. And then we've got the repeat here, the first time bar, which is in. It's marked on the piece as being in. And then you get to play it all over again and do those jumps all over again. So quite tricky. First time bar, just watch the counting there. So you've got the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Da, 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 dum. So just be mindful of how many beats you're counting on that one. Don't let panic set in and abandon all counting. So count that very carefully so that you land back on the repeat at the right time with the piano. Okay, so then after you've played that twice, just be careful on the second time bar that you don't play B there. Make sure you land on a B flat. It sounds pretty nasty if you play a B there instead of a B flat. But then it does play C, B, C, so you have got B naturals now. So and again, I'm making the quavers sort of ba-ba-bum. I'm making those quite bouncy just so I stay in time a little bit better. So not da da da. So ba-ba-bum. I think keep those just a little bit shorter, and that will help you sort of get through it. So it is marked to crescendo as you play through there. So it's down, up with the notes a bit, isn't it? So at 16, 17, you're marked forte now, but then it continually plays through and you've got to get back, you've got to get down to bar 19 without losing time and then back to like the original sort of tune again. So I think this is a bit of a crunch point, so just be really careful with the rhythm here. So da da dum dum, 1 2 3 da dee da dum dum. So I think you've got to be just really accurate with the counting there. Just make sure you're counting that really carefully. Don't guess. And last little bit, G sharp to A. So a bit of octave key practice here, isn't there? I think this is actually quite good practice. So you're going A, G, F, A, G, F, A, G, F. Now this is going to get those pupils that are doing this on and on the octave key. That's one of my sort of things that I nag pupils about. So just find a place with that thumb that you can just add that key on and off when you need to add it. If you're doing that and you're jumping on and off that black button, the whole thing becomes a bit of a nightmare, and it just, as you go up the grades and the music gets a little bit more difficult, that really does become a problem. So if you're doing that now and you're jumping on and off that black button, try and fix it, because it's not a great technique. So keep your thumb permanently on there, and then you're just going to add that key when you need it, and it just kind of helps to minimize all the technical aspects of playing the instrument down a little bit further. So I think that's all I need to say on the technical details. So just be aware, if you've picked this one because perhaps you know the tune, or maybe your mum and dad knows the tune or something, or someone's recommended, oh, a bit from Oliver, yeah, let's play that. Just be aware that it's not one of the easier choices of the book. It's quite tricky, but it's a lovely tune. I'm not trying to sort of say anything too negative about it. It's a great little tune. But just be aware, it is one of, perhaps with the repeat, it is one of the slightly longer ones. You don't really get any bars rest in there, and there is quite a bit of octave jumping, so just make sure you learn it really carefully. Okay, so that's it for the technical side of things. Have a go at playing along with the accompaniment yourself. Grab your Bluetooth speaker, see if you can play along, and as I mentioned, I've uploaded 2 different speeds. Perhaps try the steady version first, the slightly slower one, and see if you can keep with that. And if you can, of course, then try and play along with me at the start of the video and see if you can keep up with me. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope that was of some help to you. Best of luck for grade 1. I hope you get a super mark. Do check out the description. So I've got some links in there. I've got a link to my website. So I do lessons myself here in Nottingham in my studio, and also do lessons through Zoom. Do leave in the comment section. Let me know how you're getting on with grade 1. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, click that like button if that's something you do when you watch YouTube videos. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.